Hi, Markand Thakar here, music director of Baltimore Chamber Orchestra. So there's good news. There was good news. We put together an absolutely bang-up season in this, the 250th anniversary of Beethoven's birth. Beethoven composed 5 piano concertos. We give 5 subscription concerts, and so our season was to include 1 Beethoven piano concerto on each of the subscription concerts. And we had a lineup of spectacular, sensational, world-class pianists as soloists. And then there's bad news. There's a little virus going around. You might have heard about it. So we are unable to put together an audience and musicians for concerts at least this fall. And so this fantastic season, we are moving lock, stock, and barrel to 2021-22, and then we will be able to celebrate Beethoven's 251st birthday. No concerts, but we haven't forgotten you, and we hope you haven't forgotten us. And so we will be releasing a series of entertaining videos every other Sunday. The series is going to be called BCO Sundays Three. That's our regular concert time. And they'll feature BCO performances with some entertaining discussion. Some of that discussion will be by our assistant conductor, Rebecca Smithorn. And some of those videos, the discussion will be by Jonathan Palevsky, who you know as classical voice of WBJC. Now, each of the first 4 offerings is going to include video of one of Vivaldi's 4 seasons from Audrey Wright's spectacular performance with us last February. The first one is going to start with Spring. On September 13th will be the first release date. And I've asked Audrey to join us to speak about it. Audrey, so my first question is, how are you managing in this craziness?
Such a loaded question. I've been doing well. I've been trying to stay busy, kind of creating small goals for myself in light of not really having any big ones.
Well, I can see that you're practicing because your net mark is.
Oh yes, it is especially inflamed these days. So
So, as you know, we're going to be releasing the video of your Four Seasons performance, one at
yes,
a time, every 2 weeks. The
yes.
first one is coming up on the 13th. And so, just a few questions about you and Vivaldi Four Seasons. It's a huge piece, 4 separate concertos.
Yeah.
Uh, have you lived with the piece before?
In fact, I have not. This was my first time performing the work as a whole. I played the summer concerto with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra back in 2018. But other than that, I hadn't played any of the other concerti. So this was quite the project. And like you say, it's 4 concertos, and individually by kind of our modern standards, um, each concerto is certainly not as long or as complex as many of the concertos that we're hearing violinists play these today. Um, but when you put them together as a whole, I mean, it's like a Brahms concerto or a Beethoven concerto, and it's a lot, taxing mentally and physically, and to bring out all of the incredible characters and changes of expression. It takes a lot of focus to do that in one go.
Well, it's also, we think about Baroque music as being simpler, but this is a huge range of styles, to
It is.
elegant and to bombastic, virtuosic, which must be a tremendous challenge.
Yes. I said maybe not as taxing as modern concertos, but actually in a way it's more because of all these changes. Like you say, there's incredibly lyric writing. The melodies, the tunes that he writes are beautiful. The middle movements, which are all slow in each concerto, are gorgeous and kind of transport you to a different place, right? But then that's juxtaposed with these fiery, virtuosic outer movements that are constantly going back and forth between different tempos and different dynamics and crazy kind of techniques for both the left hand and flashy things for the bow. So there's a lot going on.
And something that I'm not sure an audience would realize, and one of the advantages that we're going to have with this video is these depictions, these programmatic depictions musically of critters, birds and bugs and a dog and then weather phenomena and drinking, certainly drinking, and
Oh yes, a whole piece, in fact, about drinking.
and hunting and shooting and then sleeping. And so with the videos that we're going to be sending out, we're actually able to subtitle all these spots, so it's going to be very
Oh,
vivid.
good. This is one of those pieces that you will hear, dozens of different violinists, and every single interpretation is incredibly different, from one to the next. And I think, this imagery is a large part of that. Some of my favorite ones in the winter concerto, there's something that talks about running and stomping one's feet
Right.
from the cold, right? And I think that's just a fantastic image, and you really get to kind of play that out and be expressive and be very extreme in your playing.
I do have one final question. As the music director and conductor of the Baltimore Chamber Orchestra, I notice on the video that there's no conductor, and so I wonder, how do you defend? I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, in my defense, this is how they did it back in the day. No, I think this
Well,
piece.
actually, Audrey, let me stick up for you here. It was actually my suggestion, and
Yes.
it's and it's something that I really like to do whenever it's possible, because I feel like the musicians, it really forces people to come together, to listen, to connect, and it's also, I think it's really good for morale. Uh,
Yes.
so and what's funny is I thought about it shortly before the first rehearsal, and I think I called you or emailed you, and I'm thinking, I don't know if would she be comfortable? I don't know without a conductor, and so I broached the subject, and your response was, yes, go away, goodbye, we got this.
Give me a little credit.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
that
wait,
was
no, I was glad of that. I was glad. I think
yeah.
it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was very, I was happy to have that suggested because, like you say, I think it creates a chamber music vibe and an atmosphere, and that's really where this music derived, right? And so I think it was a fantastic opportunity for the chamber orchestra to really get that chance to communicate together in that way. And I think it was really special for myself and all of us. So
Yeah, the performance was just, I mean, it was, couldn't have been better.
thank you.
Everyone just what loved it. And I actually, being in the audience for a rare occasion, I also got to love it. So we will all see these in the next, played out over the next few weeks. And thank you. And we hope to be able to see you in person and hear you in person sometime soon.
Yes, soon. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Markand.
Thank you, Audrey.